Welcome back to the LCS, where Kobe and I are bringing you TSM versus Dignitas. Now, Dignitas has been on a bit of a hot streak here. Recently, they acquired their first 3 wins of the split back to back to back, but unfortunately, their most recent performance, they fell pretty hard.
Yeah, their hot streak came to a screeching halt because the last game that they played, that had the latest first blood of any LCS game this entire split. Plus, it tied the record all time for all LCS games ever with the 2014 Curse vs. CLG game for the lowest kills of all time in the LCS. And I know everyone's going to meme on them for that game, so I needed to reach out to the coaches and to the team to get kind of their side, because I knew something had to have happened, right? There's no way they went in with that game plan. And I talked to ThinkCard a little bit, and he said the big miscommunication was in draft, where they were originally planning on going with the AP Kog'Maw to outrange the enemy carries, Ezreal and stuff like that, and then make them, engage on you. So they drafted a bunch of disengage first. They got the Trundle and stuff like that. They have Peel not getting engaged for themselves. Then they made an alteration in Champ Select when they saw the Yuumi to pick up the Lulu into it to have that matchup. But if you have the Lulu Cog, then you have to go AD Cog. It's on hit Cog. It's no longer going to outrange them. And they ended up with not having a range advantage and not having any engage for themselves. And they just completely dropped the ball. They weren't unable to make any plays after that. So I really wanted to highlight, especially to me, aphromoo has been great for this team. I want him on play-making supports, engage supports. His Thresh has been outstanding, along with the Leona, along with the Nautilus, the Bard, these types of things where he's playing up to his old standards once again. It feels like aphromoo is having a renaissance here in the LCS, and he's a big part of this team trying to move forward and not repeat last week's mistakes.
Yeah, we want to see Dignitas not have another game like that one last Sunday. We'd love to see him get back into the form of the 3 wins that they were able to acquire. And across the table, when we look at TSM, we're looking for consistency.
And we're looking at Spica. The face checks, obviously, everybody very clearly remembers. And I even watched the TSM Legends last night to take a look. And he was so embarrassed by it. I mean, he knew exactly what he did wrong. Everybody on the team knew what he did wrong. But once you face check twice in a row after they had already started pinging out that the bottom lane had moved in, oh, man, it was so heartbreaking for them to watch. I believe this is even an older one as another instance of it, but Spica's definitely been having a rough time. Him and Broken Blade, probably the 2 focal points that people have been looking at for this TSM roster to step it up, improve so they can continue to actually hold their top spot, because they're still doing quite well in the standings.
Yeah, you can see the graph on your screen right now sort of showing how goal differences have gone here.
Yep, the FlyQuest one completely spiraled out of control there as it dropped off the cliff. That's what they're going to try and keep from happening again.
Yeah, not the best. And of course, that game versus 100 Thieves is the one game out of the past 4 that TSM has claimed victory in. And speaking of TSM's past 4 games, I wanted to give you a stat, because we were talking about Spica. We talked about how he was a bit of an issue there with the face checking and a bit of reckless play, and how Broken Blade could be the other person that a lot of people would sort of levy criticism against here. And a Broken Blade stat, you could call this a fun stat, but it's really not that fun once you get to the bottom of it. Over the course of those past 4 games from Broken Blade in these past 2 weeks, his overall KDA is 4, 13, and 6, which is a sub 1.0 KDA.
Yeah, if you had stopped at his KDA has been 4, and left it at that, it'd be fine. But the entire score lane there definitely been rough. That's why I think that the team should actually transition a little bit to putting him more on tanky champions. Specifically over in the LEC, they play all kinds of tanks. The Sion, Maokai, all these things in the top side that don't require a lot of attention. And I think Broken Blade has shown in the past that he has been very good on tanks. He's won big games for TSM on Ornn, on Poppy, those types of things. Already in this Champ Select, though, most of the power picks being focused. Twisted Fate, almost permaban nowadays. Karma, one of the laners without a lot of answers as well. And with Olaf and Graves banned out, maybe we actually do see something like the Trundle, more of the farming objective focused jungler.
Well, with no AD carry bans, I'll bet you $100 we see Ezreal.
All right. Aphelios, maybe? Any takers? Any takers on the Aphelios? Hello. Ashe, Ezreal, Aphelios, all up for grabs, obviously. Sett locked in. That has been a strong Broken Blade champion as well. I think he's had some really good flanks with it, so that's probably securing the top lane for them, although obviously still remaining flexible.
Yep, Sett locked in there. We'll see where he goes. Azir, Graves, Karma, Twisted Fate, Volibear, Olaf. So not just the Graves into Olaf, but that Volibear has been very popular here recently as well. And okay, Dignitas picking up the Karthus. The last changes to Karthus did have a slew of buffs as well as a nerf to his damage against monsters specifically. So trying to slow down the clearing power of that champion in the jungle while returning him to a bit more capability to fend for himself in a solo lane situation. He got bonus move speed even. I am really glad you didn't take me up on that bet, because this is what I feel like is a hell freezes over type of situation. No pick, no ban on Ezreal. When is the last time has this happened all summer?
So there's got to have been something happening in scrim sessions here where Xayah's jumped up in priority, because this is a quick jump for the Xayah. This time at least makes more sense with Xayah plus Rakan. Also, Xayah Rakan Sett is a super strong trio that we've seen used a lot because of the combination of Sett and Rakan's crowd control abilities layering so well. You can group them up, then you get the chain CC charm plus knockup. It's a huge, huge lockdown for Xayah, giant feather spray, and you get a big pullback. So those three champions, not only do they look great together with the art design, but they actually work really well together in game. And on the side of Dignitas, of course, the Tahm Kench is also a very good denial pick, because going to allow you to get out of anybody that gets caught up in that CC chain. And it is going to be able to protect Karthus wherever he goes. I wanted to say that with the Karthus buffs, it also buffed him in jungle. Even though they reduced the damage specifically for lay waste and stuff to jungle monsters, it's still a giant net gain for the champion. And I've been talking to a lot of players that love playing him bottom lane too. So this is a very, very open pick right here. This, for Dig, does not give away anything. They still have both solo lanes and jungle completely open and up in the air, and they can keep this and probably finesse 2 counter picks out for themselves. They are banning away mid laners, which might be a little bit of a bait there, but Galio and Orianna are 2 of the best, and especially for Bjergsen here, they don't want to let any more of those AoE abilities get layered on top of the already crazy combo that they've drafted in the first 3.
And TSM bans Riven against Viper. That's what I like to see right there. You see a guy with a reputation, you see a guy who cut his teeth in solo queue, working as a one trick, you ban that champion away. That is smart drafting right there. With Riven and Irelia banned out, Dignitas go ahead and pick themselves up a Jayce.
Yeah, the Irelia ban is a little bit more perplexing, as it has really dropped off the priority list of a lot of pro players and is a lot more situational, a bit squishy. But let's get right into the next ones here. Wukong picked up real quickly here that they can actually use for still flexing between the Sett and the Wukong, depending on what Broken Blade wants for his matchup versus Sett. Both of them are going to have a little bit difficult of a time. I like the Wukong a little bit more into the Sett. You can go for those kills once you hit level 6.
Syndra being hovered here by TSM for their last pick could put Bjergsen on one of his all-time highest played champions, as well as a champion that excels at exploding squishies. And your opponents are Ashe, Karthus, and Jayce. A lot of good targets here. As soon as you see Tahm Kench protect one, you can focus one of the others and blow them up.
Definitely agree. Like the choice still open for them. For Dig, what they need to round this out, it is going to be the jungle Karthus, and they're looking for kill pressure on the Syndra. Fenix not backing down here. Even from Bjergsen's famous Syndra, wants to take the kill pressure into it. I do like the matchup, but it's kind of difficult to pull off if your jungler is farm focused like Karthus here. And Karthus doesn't do a great job at ganking Syndra and helping him out, but if you're able to get into range to land the slow from the wall, sometimes that's all it takes for Ekko to actually be able to get in place to land the stun with the W and pull off the combo. It's just still difficult to do. Looks like TSM are also going to do the Wukong top block let's talk about.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider Ekko squishy in the way that I would the other 3 champions that they've drafted that aren't named Tahm Kench, simply because unless you fully 100-0 him, he is going to be able to reset that HP with the ultimate. But there's not anybody particularly super tanky on the side of Dignitas going up against this TSM squad that can engage on you with a Rakan, that can blow somebody up there with a Syndra, that has the follow-up AoE power and team fighting capability of the Wukong. So I think Dignitas is going to have to be very, very aware of exactly how they want to approach these fights and not allow TSM to have any angles or really good flanks against them, because I feel like this Dignitas composition is one of those ones where if you give up one big team fight that leads into couple objectives, it's going to be curtain call real fast.
And my worry that was hanging over from last week of not having either Dardoch or aphromoo or both on playmaking champions has emerged here as well. Karthus and Tahm Kench are not the ones gonna make the big play for your team to bring crowd control to start off the fight. Karthus does try and play a lot from range unless you're looking for the all-in die and death defile right in the middle. A little bit later stages. Viper's been surrounded. Treatz gonna W over.
Treatz sees this. Okay, they're aware. Treatz with the grand entrance. Viper with the flash immediately towards his allies, but a very nice plan there from TSM, keeping Treatz in position in case they saw anybody running out of that tri-brush.
And that is a valuable summoner spell. No flash now for Jayce to get away from the Wukong harassment. Anytime you have that, matchup with the Wukong, he's looking for those quicker trades where then he tries to retreat before the Jayce can put the damage on the exit. It's basically up front, Wukong gets a big burst and you kind of win the trade, and then it's about how can the Wukong evade and get away from phase rush Jayce, who tries to chase you back down. But if phase rush Jayce doesn't have the flash, then he needs to be a little bit more worried about jungle presence and doesn't want to overextend, so might have to be a lot more careful. Broken Blade pulls the minions. I want to talk about this real quickly as they go for the trade. There's 2 parts for pulling the minions. The first part is when you group them up like that, you can get them to focus fire the first of your minions that heads up to the lane. But also, if you pull them on this side of the map, you can see that the reinforcements, next wave of minions from your opponent, get there first and start doing damage first. So that's how you create it to push towards you, them being able to focus fire as well as having quicker DPS from the new arrivals.
Yep, nice little moves there from Broken Blade to try to encourage an early push from Viper and open up an opportunity for Spica to potentially get an early gank here in this top side, take advantage of that flash that was expended at level 1. But they'll just keep trading these auto attacks here back and forth a little bit as Dardoch will clear through his jungle, looking to grab his red buff. You can see a little bit of it feels a little bit slower than before just because of the Q damage, but he'll still be doing just fine for himself. And hey, I believe it's the movement speed buff that Karthus got was also plus 10, which is incredible. And I'm not memeing when I say that like the haha old Nidalee lost 5 AD thing. 10 movement speed is a ton in League of Legends, and I want to see how that plays out for this Karthus pick as the game goes forward.
Yeah, it's definitely ginormous, and part of the reason that Karthus fell off a cliff was because they initially nerfed the move speed and took away 5 from him. I wanted to get back to that minions on the top side, though. When you go for the trade and he draws aggro by attacking him, that's why the extra push didn't go his way, with the minions then targeting you instead of targeting your minions. So even with the setup work of pulling them, if you go for that trade and you get the ranged minions starting to auto you instead of autoing your minions, that's why it does not push in your favor, and Viper is able to stand just fine here. But yeah, back to Karthus. He was pulling the Raptors there just for extra sustain, trying to get the talisman sustain as the burn just stays on them and continually gives you a fountain of life, basically. It's one of the tricks you can use on Karthus to not get low in the jungle, ignore power clear, because that's what he's looking to do early. Just power clear, does end up getting the top crab as well.
Yeah, a lot of AoE junglers are capable of taking advantage of the chicken camp like that with the Hunter's Talisman. Hecarim can do it, Evelynn can do it. There's a lot of opportunities.
Ships in the night.
Spica shows up, and he's going after Viper with the flash into the face breaker. And here's the follow-up from Broken Blade, and there you go. First Blood TSM taking advantage of that summoner spell from level 1.
Yeah, they win the game of Ring Around the Rosie. It's so funny when you have this false sense of confidence. Viper there, he's like, all right, we just got the crab. Dardoch just took crab and went for the invade, but you see him taking the route over here to the Gromp. Doesn't have vision of Spica, and without knowledge of each other for Spica or for Dardoch, he passes right by the other avenue through the blue jungle. So while Viper thought he had everything going for him, Scuttle Crab vision, his junglers in there countering on the Gromp, Spica's eyes were on the prize, goes for the gank first, flashes in immediately, and TSM are able to get it.
Setting up Broken Blade for some success. You love to see it. As bottom side is Doublelift and Treatz trying to get aggressive here in the 2v2, but Tahm Kench likes to shut that down. Fortunately, it's been a while since Kench has been off the bench. He's one of those champions that often forces the game to slow down a little bit because of his ability to keep his allies so well protected. And as I already talked about in Champion Select, with so many vulnerable allies, it will be up to aphromoo to make sure that he is right where he needs to be throughout these fights, right? You got to make sure you get those powers off.
Who's he going to save?
Yeah, you gotta make the tough choice. It's like that classic thing where the train is heading down the tracks, it's gonna run over the guy and you flip the switch to run over the other guy. Well, Tahm Kench, you're the railroad conductor and you gotta pick who you save from the train, because that train looks an awful lot like Wukong and Sett. aphromoo trying to get himself away now as Doublelift and Treatz continue playing this 2v2 so aggressively, and they know they can because Spica is right there, able to turn things around in case somebody would show up.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. It's an AoE train that's coming through.
An AoE train.
There's AoE crowd control that's going to come flying out, and you only get a single target devour. Dardoch doesn't get spotted. He does!
Broken Blade trying to follow that one up, and he gets it thanks to the bonus distance from the W, but Dardoch landing those Skittles means that Broken Blade goes down in a 1-for-1 there. But Broken Blade happy to keep on grabbing himself some more money, slow down Dardoch's farming there a little bit. TSM will also grab themselves the first Drake on the bottom half of the map.
So he actually doesn't slow it down at all because Dardoch was recalling there, and he just goes back to base anyway, and he heads right back out here. So it is flashes traded. I would say that flash for Wukong is very big. Dardoch can do a little bit better of a job hiding, farming jungle, just using the ultimate to try and affect fights. So I think that might have been a net negative trade for Broken Blade there, very slightly, because it also allowed Viper to push up the lane, and now the Wukong without the flash, not going to have the ult or flash for kill pressure.
Speaking of kill pressure, Bjergsen really wanting to make a statement here in the mid lane, forcing Fenix to go ulti for ulti with him, but that does set up the opportunity for Spica to maybe come mid lane and force a play onto the Ekko while he doesn't have that get out of jail free card. Bjergsen will take the blue buff, and I want to put everybody's attention here real quick on the inventories of the top laners. 2 longswords in Broken Blade's inventory. Because of the fact that normally Wukong rushes a Trinity Force, things are a little bit different here early on for him. This could just be a Tiamat to make sure he has some extra wave clear. It could be a Bork, it could be a Death Stance. There's a few different things that could build into. But the important thing is it's not Trinity Force, so a little unusual.
Yeah, not Trinity Force. I know a decent amount of top laners that like doing the Bork on him, so it could be that. It gives you this active slow, obviously, that helps you set up and keep people in range for your combos. So could be that one, but meanwhile, it looks like they're not really going to have an opportunity to use this Karthus ult anytime soon. All the lanes for Dig playing very defensively. Dardoch, even though he has very low mana, is heading out to a top lane possible play here. Again, remember it was traded flashes, and Broken Blade very much more vulnerable in the long lane there without his. But Spica keeps his eyes on the objectives. Going to be able to get the Rift Herald here as the recall completes for Dardoch. And TSM are going to have that opening to make a big chunk, a big donation to one of the laners. I would say give it to Bjergsen because his Syndra should be kind of pushed ahead in trying to complete the early staff, Archangel staff, so you can get it charging very quickly and get the extra safety of your Seraph's transformation.
Fully agree on that one. Make sure Bjergsen's staying ahead of the curve so the burst is as relevant as humanly possible. Broken Blade farming up underneath the turret here, maintaining a slight CS lead over the Jayce, which brings me to a point of talking about Jayce where this is one of those champions that you look at, and if Jayce is going even in lane, it's like he's losing the lane because so much of the champion's power is just his ability to dominate the laning phase. If Bjergsen finds himself in some trouble here, Fenix barely going to miss out on the stun. Bjergsen keeping himself safer than he would have been if that CC would have connected. But Dardoch also hanging around the mid lane here. Fenix continuing to play ever so aggressively, going all the way underneath the turret there for Bjergsen, setting up the ulti from Dardoch, and there comes the laser. Dardoch takes a free kill.
Take notes, everyone. That's how you gank with Karthus.
You sit in the bush and press off.
You stand in the side brush. Fenix does all the work. Boom, boom. All right, I got him low for you, buddy. Show the mechanics. Kaboom! R comes down. It calls down the laser, and Bjergsen just gets outplayed. Honestly, though, Fenix deserves so much credit. The first jump over the wall, really good little chunk. And then no hesitation, gets right back out into it. You know that with a few patches ago, they nerfed the cooldown of that Scatter the Weak on Syndra, so she doesn't have as many answers as quickly because she has to wait longer for, stun.
Oh, I thought for sure that one was going to miss, but the very edge of the hitbox finds its way onto Doublelift, who goes up into the ulti, gets himself away. Treatz having to retreat now as well. Dignitas with 4 players in the bottom lane, looking to try to catch somebody from TSM, but flash used by Doublelift, heal from Treatz, means TSM gets away.
Yeah, good evacuation there from TSM. Fenix good attempts with the teleport down bottom side, but they'll just have the rotation over. Broken Blade comes down after pushing his own lane, so they don't lose any minions for the attempt. And it's a big trade of summoner spells. Doublelift and Spica both blowing their flashes. So you'll look for a repeat opportunity. That's what you do with your Ashe arrow cooldown. Spam it here. Next time they won't have a flash on Doublelift, and they're going to look for the kill.
Essence Reaver completed for Doublelift now too. You can see he didn't even bother to go for the basic boots early on. He wanted to completely rush this first item, which means he will have that power spike over Johnsun here for a while. Not only is he 25 farm above his opponent, but Johnsun stopping to get the full Berserker's Greaves means he will be 1,100 gold later on that first full item completion. Talking about items too, it was Tiamat for Broken Blade there in the top lane for extra pushing power here in the side lane situation, as it looks like Spica will take a second Drake uncontested here, and we've got Ocean Rift yet again, Mr. Kobe. So more pressure on Dignitas to answer this neutral objective game as we move forward.
Nice, calming, soothing noises. Viper gets a few more plates off, does miss the shock blast.
And Broken Blade just immediately turns things right back around, but Dardoch is here and waiting. Broken Blade turns Viper into a nice blend of whatever he was beforehand, and Dardoch gets the return kill, so a 1-for-1 there in the top lane.
Yeah, I think Viper gave a knock to the clone there, knocking the dangerous clone away, and Broken Blade's able to get the 1-for-1 even though there's the extra roam on their weak side since Dardoch does come up. Dragon stacking is going to be a problem here for Dig though. They're going to have to do a little bit more effort into keeping the vision, probably off of some Fenix plays mid. That's definitely going to be their hope to get some priority, because other than that, TSM have done a very good job of pushing them in. One thing about rushing to that Essence Reaver extremely quickly for Doublelift and getting the full completion allows you to spam out your abilities with Xayah, and she can wave clear so incredibly fast. It's just so effortless as they're running down in a line. Spam out your feathers and you get your blade collar to annihilate them. So it gives you a lot of wave control as soon as you do get that power spike. Topside does Spica looking for the dive.
Oh, a TP also showing up means everybody from TSM wants to join the party. Bjergsen is here, and surely the damage will be more than enough. Viper just slammed around, beaten down. Spica not even needing to use the ult. He recognizes that would be way overkill, as Broken Blade now has the chance to get himself plenty of plate money up here before those fall.
Let's see if there's a rebuttal on the bottom side, because they actually expended a lot of resources. I'm not quite sure if the Bjergsen teleport was necessary. Fenix does get a plate because he left the lane. Lands it done here for himself, though, and a little bit of a trade. So Fenix and Dig, they at least get some money back with a plate in mid, even though there was big losses on the top side, as they very easily get the kill on the Viper, not even having to use the Sett ultimate. And Broken Blade finishes off all but one of the top turret plates right before the timer expires.
Yeah, Broken Blade grabbing himself a kill and enough plates to set the dinner table, so he's feeling real good on this Wukong here on the top side, working on that Trinity Force now that I talked about the absence of earlier. I really do like the Trinity Force against heavily squishy compositions like what we're seeing on Dignitas, so glad to see he's going with that as his first big item. If we're looking at items across the board, Proto Belt is now done for Fenix on this Ekko, gives him some extra upfront burst capability as well as mobility. Johnsun he's still trucking, man. He's got to complete that Bork, but it's still a little ways away. So Ashe lagging behind the Xayah in terms of power for the time being, as Dardoch grabs his red buff yet again. He's right on top of one of those control wards, but he can clean that one up nice and easy. And the Karthus farm train never stops. Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, yeah. Meanwhile, the farm that you touched on for Johnsun, like this just goes so much to talk about the. Well, let's take a look at the trade here. Viper does get a decent amount of Broken Blade's health. Treatz going in for TSM, and they talked a lot in the video that they put out about why they put Treatz in, being due to his communication with the team. But his laning with Doublelift has been very good. His first game they got in, they got the 2v2 kill in lane with his Leona, and they bring out the Xayah Rakan here, absolutely smashing in the bottom side, keeping Johnsun 20 plus, almost 30 CS now behind, and allowing Spica so much control over all the neutrals. Not only was it the first two dragon stacking, but it's also the Rift-tailed stacks. Getting both.
Not too shabby for a guy who started off as a cardboard cutout in Academy, moving up now to the main stage.
True.
Yes. It's amazing what can happen when you switch from cardboard to the real deal. As TSM.
You got 3D printed here onto the Rift, and oh my goodness, it's just so strong.
The power of being a real human being, as the Rift-tailed is collected, the red buff is secured. Dignitas try to move up into enemy territory there, but they're not really going to grab much worth mentioning. However, the Ocean Drake is spawning here in 25 seconds. Dignitas, they were able to sleep through the first couple of them, just let that go. But now it's time to wake up. Bang your hand on the desk there a little bit. Get them to pay attention, because you can't let all these go away. You do not want this TSM squad grabbing that Ocean Soul nice and early. The Rift Herald is summoned up in the mid lane. Fenix is caught out of position, and he is killed before he's even able to chrono break. That's what I was talking about. I said he's not as squishy as the others because he can use the ulti, but if the chain CC is perfect, and it was, Fenix can't get out. TSM with that play secure themselves this third Drake and put themselves at soul point.
Another one-sided affair here, Flowers, as Treatz does face check the enemy mid laner. In previous times, you would think, oh my goodness, a support, only level 9, face checking this big, bad mid laner, Ekko.
How risque.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm worried for his life. Immediately, though, Treatz just turns on the ultimate. CC locks Fenix after Doublelift arrives. He doesn't waste his crowd control duration in the early stages. He waits for Doublelift to be there to apply the damage. That's critical because it locks up Fenix too long for him to be able to use his ultimate. He got CC'd from like, maybe we'll get the replay, but it was like 60% down to 0. No chance to get off the ultimate there. And it's just a quick pickup there. Doublelift cashes in, gets his first kill of the game, finishes up a rapid fire cannon now.
Well, Broken Blade goes after Johnsun, but Johnsun gets himself away with the flash before Broken Blade is able to get the extra damage and the knock up there from that ultimate. So enemy 80 carry flash down, and it's Ashe, so no extra escape mechanisms built into the kit. It's all about third summoner spell aphromoo now to keep Johnsun safe in the following fights for the next 5 minutes. Doublelift with that 2-item power spike. He's so strong right now on this Xayah. He will be the one leading the charge here in the top lane.
Yeah, and they can easily split the map too. Broken Blade, like you were talking about earlier, he went with that early Tiamat. Now he's also got the Train Force on top of his Tiamat, so you have the wave clear and you have the burst damage. He easily shoves up that bottom lane, and TSM can continue to keep the 4-person squad of pressure here on top tower. Take this one, rotate through the jungle. You see all the control wards leading up to the red side jungle. They have nothing to worry about from Dig.
The one thing you have to respect if you're Broken Blade, hold on, we'll talk about it here after this. Let's take another look at how Treatz set this up.
Yeah, he's thinking, oh no, dang, I face checked you, Fenix. Please don't hurt me. Doublelift is on the way. He just dashes right over to Doublelift, goes back in, hits the knockup, hits the charm. Fenix is down, and just like that, TSM gained full control over the map, taking the opportunity to put those deep wards down, take topside turret.
And the thing I was talking about before the replay is when you look at Broken Blade, remember that the Wukong passive gives him a lot of armor. He has ninja tabbies for even greater armor, but he still has no magic resistance. So if Dardoch or Fenix has the opportunity to put some damage into Broken Blade, he still will die very quickly when he dives in. You can see the Caulfield's Warhammer now being completed on his most recent purchase. It means he is going for the Death's Dance, which will make him significantly tankier, as well as adding a base amount of MR to help deal with some of the magic pen coming through from the Sorcerer's Shoes and Runes and Masteries and whatnot. So a little bit better after that one gets completed, but still a ways to go until it's done. 4,000 gold here, just a little bit shy of that. The lead for TSM. And Kobe, it is now shy of 2 minutes before we see what could be an Ocean Soul for TSM. Dignitas must have a plan.
Yeah, and just back on the Wukong thing too, Wukong is a firm believer in the best defense is a good offense, and try to get in there and knock up the opponent. So if he's in on Dardoch, Dardoch has maybe 1.5 seconds to live, as there's so much burst damage from Wukong. So you, and half of that time you get knocked up from the Wukong ultimate. So it's really hard to output that damage unless Dig can actually have a team fight where they have the members together. You know, Johnsun lands the arrow, locks somebody down. That's when you can shine, and you try and hit your lay waste on the isolated stunned target so you can't miss them. But other than that, it gets so difficult to try and, you know, peel a Wukong off of mages like that. Dig have really no foothold to work with. It's also one of the reasons I really started to dislike Tahm Kench more than usual. Does not provide a lot for you in game states like this, where they've got no map territory to work with. Abyssal Voyage is at level 1, since the nerfs are super short range, so you can't even really get that extra mobility across the map until you get to at least level 2 of the Abyssal Voyage. So he's just kind of waiting around for the rest of the team. Yeah,
2 more levels to go there for aphromoo, as nobody from Dignitas is around the Drake area just yet. It's now 15 seconds to go. TSM have priority over the Drake pit. Dignitas must answer, or they lose Ocean
teleport.
Soul. 22 minutes in. Here comes Broken Blade. Speak softly and hit him with a big stick. That's the Wukong plan. Can he do it? Can he find the angle here? TSM, they aren't even too worried about going for the fight. They're just looking for the Ocean Drake, and it started up. Doublelift doing the DPS. Spica's already waiting. Dignitas, you are not in position. You made no effort to contest, and that means TSM will take the Ocean Soul. Broken Blade jumps into the fight, immediately flashes back out. Treatz goes in for the CC, also has to flash to get himself away to safety. TSM are looking for a fight after taking their objective. They will not find it. They have to use a couple of their own flashes just to disengage. Viper uses one of his own. It's still a summoner spell net gain here for Dignitas. But man, that is not a worthwhile trade when you lose Ocean Soul 22 minutes in. And now TSM are deciding they want to start up the Baron. Dardoch getting hit by the damage from Bjergsen, who fires off the entire of the ulti, just lets it rip. Goodbye, Dardoch. With the enemy jungler down, no smite opportunity there. TSM will continue with their Baron take, and Dignitas once again, Kobe, they are just sleeping at the wheel. Set up a sleeping bag in the front seat, why don't you? This team has got to figure out how to answer these objectives.
Yeah, this is why I had the big speech at the beginning of the game before we got into the Champ Select Flowers. I want to see Dardoch aphromoo on playmaking champions. Don't give me this resident sleeper farming jungle and Tahm Kench. Are you kidding me? These are the players that can push your game state forward. Why are you having them on these farming champions? Johnsun's the one who's supposed to farm. Fenix, Viper, like, have those guys farming, be the DPS. Put Dardoch and aphromoo on things that can set them up. The best things about Dignitas for this split have been the bottom lane. aphromoo when he's on the Thresh, on the Bard, you know, catching people out, getting objectives, getting stuff done for
what
the team.
he's known for.
Yeah. And that had allowed Johnsun to really step up, which was getting people excited for, you know, another one of the North American talents from top of solo queue. But TSM will just steamroll them for yet another game here, where two of the biggest playmakers of the team are on champions that don't have those capabilities. Broken Blade in a 1v4?
Broken Blade trying to survive. The cavalry has arrived, and they will save their top laner. That's a backbreaker, man. That's game. TSM pushing for the win right now. Fenix is dead. He never got to chrono break here again. There comes your gigantic over-the-top slam from Spica to make sure that Dardoch is also removed from the equation. TSM pushing towards Nexus turrets, waiting for that next minion wave. They've got Baron enchanted minions pouring in with them. Doublelift just trying to grab a couple of extra structure hits there onto the mid lane tier 3. Nexus turret number 1 is already gone. Nexus turret number 2. Also, yeah, that thing's rubble as well. There's still a few seconds remaining before Dignitas is able to respawn, and TSM 25 minutes in will make swift work of Dignitas. 11,000 gold up. 10 turrets, excuse me, taken. An Ocean Soul at 23 minutes and a Baron right after. TSM had their number from the very beginning.
Freak is the angry parent. I am the disappointed parent. I am not going to yell at you. I'm just going to tell you that I am disappointed. You did not do your homework. You did not do well on the tests. The grades are trash. Like, why do you send them in once again with this squad that's not going to be able to create any action? If you have this setup, it puts so much pressure on either Fenix to be an absolute hero with the Ekko. We saw a little glimmer of that where he goes all in on Bjergsen. They get a kill with the Karthus ultimate, or something crazy to happen off of Ashe arrows. Other than that, you're saying, all right, well, we have to stomp lanes with a farming Karthus jungle somehow and use that to snowball. How are you ever getting dragon control? How are you ever getting victories in these fights?
Tragedy strikes again here for Dignitas as TSM just takes them apart. We're going to go ahead, toss to a commercial here now, but once we get back on the other side, we're going to hear from Broken Blade in the Verizon post-game interview. Y'all don't want to miss it.
Houston? Brightness is increasing. There it is. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Cars like this don't come around often. The redesigned Type R, the most powerful Civic ever, from Honda.
Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I am joined by TSM's Broken Blade as he bonks people over the head with his Wukong. They take down Dignitas and move up in the standings to 8 and 5. Broken Blade, great to have you.
Thanks.
First question, overall thoughts on the game. You got to get on the Wukong and it seemed like you're having fun.
Yeah, I think definitely I had a really good matchup. The Wukong into Jayce, it's pretty known, and also they didn't have a lot of CC, so playing team fights was fairly easy. So I had a lot of fun.
And lately you've been receiving a bit of criticism, so it's got to feel good to get a pick like this, have the team say, yeah, go off on the Wukong, do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think I did perform worse than my standards. I think I should be playing a lot better than the days where I have been playing bad. It's usually not how I am playing, so being able to play or showing up today is definitely great, even though I still did mistakes. Definitely better than the previous days.
Absolutely. And talking about kind of building up and having responsibilities now, coming up in November, it's going to be 2 years for you on TSM with the current squad. You're one of the longest standing members right now. Does that cross your mind? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the longest time I've been on a team, and it does feel really great because I do like the management, the players I'm playing with, and especially Bjerg. I look up to him as a player and also as a friend. So I'm just happy where I am right now, and hopefully I can or we can bring this team to success.
All right, and final question for you, Broken Blade. Are we going to see TSM have this new gear they can pop into at the end of the season? Is it still kind of experimenting for the final weeks as you're in a good position? What should we expect?
We definitely did have some experiments in the team, but I think right now we're just trying to fix the problems that we had, because we did have problems on our team, whether it's communication or how we want to play the game, being on the same page. And right now we're just on the path of like being on the same page and really trying to maximize all the little things that we are doing wrong in the game. So it's looking pretty good, I think. Pretty happy.
Very good. Broken Blade, thank you so much for joining me. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're diving into some insight on Golden Guardians Damonte now, but after a short break, we'll be back with our third game of the day, which is going to be FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians.
My career arc so far, you could compare it to a slow starting roller coaster almost. It took me like kind of 2 to 3 years to really rise through Academy. I got to LCS and I started off pretty hot with EchoFox, and after EchoFox I got to Clutch Gaming and instantly I was at Worlds, so I feel like it was just like I just went straight up, and then as soon as I got to my peak, it was just like it just went down.
Clutch Gaming brings down their mid laner. Damonte is looking to land himself some shock and awe.
No one had any expectations on Clutch Gaming. No one had any expectations on me as a player.
I can't think, I can't lie. I feel anxious all the time.
Double kill coming in for Damonte as he's looking for a few more. The triple kill for Damonte.
Only those who are
Damonte is not this North American mid laner who you're going to walk all over. He's actually really good.
White TSM off the map. Damonte telling Sett to get out of his game. Check your watch, everybody. It's Tanner time. Kill them all. Let's go, man. Let's fucking go. There's 3 kills. It's going to be TSM going down. Damonte already out of his seat. And North America, put your hands together for your final world representative, Clutch Gaming.
Holy shit. I don't know. This is surreal. Yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely insane. We got these people over here screaming Tanner time the whole entire time. Everyone, it's just, I'm so glad we could go to Worlds for you guys.
It was just all going through my head that, damn, like I'm gonna go to the world stage now and I get to play versus these players that I've been looking up to for all these years, and I get to try to showcase myself on an international level, and that's like what every single player in every region ever like strives to do. That moment was, it was the peak of my career for sure. About a month after Worlds, I end up getting some news that Dignitas are no longer holding up my contract. So I found myself in a spot where all 10 of the LCS mid lane spots were basically taken before I even had a chance. And I was just like, this is my reality after I just went to Worlds. You know, I thought we went through so much together, so many lows and then so many highs too, that I would be there for a while, and kind of sucked because I kind of felt betrayed almost. I feel like I earned my spot on that team, and it felt weird to me not to have it anymore.
We knew that Dignitas had bought Clutch and that they were going to become Dignitas in 2020. It felt like there was this trajectory that they were going to carry into the 2020 season. But you look at what's happened, even the coach is gone.
I took a drive up to Sacramento. I was with Acadian and Mango. You know, I talked to them a lot about the situation. Just like brother to brother almost. Like they were giving me their honest opinions, and it was pretty emotional time for me because, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a job, and when you don't have a job, you kind of feel, I wouldn't say meaningless, but like it definitely doesn't feel like you have like something to just go after. And I was dealing with like imposter syndrome. Like, do I really deserve everything that I have? Do I really deserve what I did? Like, am I actually this good? Like those thoughts went through my head all the time. I talked to them about just everything, like everything. It's a 6-hour drive there, 6-hour drive back. And it made me feel good because I had this support group that even if something bad were to happen to me, that I still have my best friends, you know? And it also just showed me more that everything that I have in my life already and everything that I've like worked for is like, I really earned it, you know? I really deserve everything I did.
Over the wall! Monster! This man absolutely decided the game with that one.
I knew that it was me. It wasn't anyone else.
I get him! He's gonna be dumped to the ground. Damonte! Damonte, that was clean. Look at the team fight! A team-wide Kiana ultimate!
I couldn't just sit there and feel sorry for myself. There was no question to myself if I would give up or if I would stop trying. I knew that this was not the end of the road for me. I knew that even if I had to play Academy, I was just gonna rise through the ranks again, and I would just be back to LCS as soon as I got there before. Golden Guardians reached out and was like, hey man, like we can give you a trial period over here. I came to those 2 days of trials, I gave it my all, and I proved to everyone that this is my spot and I'm back in LCS.
Damonte is here, but he's going to be entitled. Trying to stay alive with massive stun under the tower, and Damonte zooms in to pick up the kill.
This guy was not in a starting LCS position just last spring, and here he is with a great season opener.
To everyone that stuck with you and welcomed you back, what words do you have for them?
There's not going to be another LCS team that gets rid of me again.
Oh, here goes Damonte already in the fight, but he's never gonna be so killed!
If I succeed this year and I do well as an individual and I really prove myself that like I'm a damn good player, then I feel like it's just kind of like a slap in the face to all the people that didn't think I was good enough or didn't want me for their team, didn't want to start me, didn't want to give me a chance, you know? And that's exactly what I'm going to do with Golden Guardians.
And we've upgraded her with a sonic shield.
Impressive.
There is one more thing.
Huh. Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.